I had a cannon. And I got gypped out of quarterback. I'd probably still be playing now.
Did you have a touch, or did you just throw it far and hard?
Anything you wanted.
My next guest on Soup with Coop is College Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, Chicago Bear linebacker, Brian Urlacher. Welcome to Soup with Coop, my friend.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So you got your, looks like chicken noodle. Am I guessing right?
You know, I follow your lead. If you're having chicken noodle, I'm having chicken noodle. I'm not going to go against you. If you tell me to eat chicken noodle, you tell me to eat, split pea. I don't care what it is. I'm following the leader.
Yours is steaming hot. Mine's been for about 20 minutes. It's and I got the little circles now. You know, they make the new stuff for the kids now that makes them fun. So that's what we have in our house. Yours looks legit. Mine's kind of not legit, but it still tastes good.
I'm glad you've never grown up. You still like the old, whatever it takes when you're 10 years old.
I go to a restaurant, I'll get lobster bisque, nice stuff, but not at home. I don't think I can make it as well as they do at restaurants.
Did you eat a lot of soup when you were playing for the Bears?
No.
Why not?
I ate everything, man. If I was sick, obviously I would eat some, they always recommend hot soup, but man, I was so bad with my diet when I played. I ate everything. I didn't realize that you needed to eat good until probably year 6 or 7. I ate McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, my first 5, 6, everything. I was horrible, terrible.
Did they not feed you at the complex?
Well, they did. It wasn't not like it is now. These kids, the players now get 6 meals a day at the facility. And when I played, it was breakfast and lunch. But I didn't like the food there, so I'd have my wife or somebody bring me food at the facility. McDonald's, whatever. And then I discovered Chipotle in my 6th year. That was the move. That's healthy, right?
As healthy as just grilled cheese right here that I'm eating.
Man, you got the whole thing going.
Well, it is my
hungry. They're making me hungry.
When I have a show, I can do whatever the heck I want. I can they just mail it right in. I can have lobster thermidor coming in here if I wanted to.
It is your show.
Brian, growing up, New Mexico is not I would say a typical hotbed of college athletes coming out. I don't know, what's the athletic scene look like in New Mexico?
Yeah, we're not very well thought of. It's not a hotbed, like you would say. It was hard to get recruited out of Mexico, at least when I was coming out. And we didn't have huddle, back then. It was just, if the coaches saw you, were lucky to get recruited. Now they got huddle. They can send their film out. But I had one offer. I had one offer to go to college. It was the University of New Mexico. So, of course, I accepted. I wanted to go to Texas Tech. I went to their camp before my senior year, and I was the most outstanding camper. I had a good camp. And they just told me I could walk on, but they couldn't give me a scholarship. So obviously it was an easy decision to go to UNM. And I'm glad I did. It worked out pretty good for me.
How big were you coming out of junior year, senior year? What kind of, I know you played every position.
Yeah. Well, we had like 30 guys on our team. So we probably had 7 guys going both ways. And now it's unheard of, I feel like, for the kids to play offense and defense. So you get 1 or 2 guys, but it's unheard of. I was 6'4", 195 when I graduated.
That's a perfect That's a perfect quarterback prospect these days.
I should have been a quarterback. I'm so pissed off still because, I got a gun. You should see me throw. Not anymore because my wrist is all messed up. But back when I could actually be a decent athlete, I had a cannon, and I got gypped out of quarterback. I'd probably still be playing now.
Did you have a touch, or did you just throw it far and hard?
Anything you wanted. I could place it. I could put touch on it. I could throw a duck. I could throw it behind my, whatever you want, man. I could do it all.
Did you ever lobby to the coaches in college that say, hey, go ahead, just give me a little shotgun action?
Not in college, no. I got screwed out of high school, and then I just kind of put that to rest when I went to college and stuck with defense and receiver. But I really think I could have been a quarterback. But I was 3rd string in 8th grade, and then I never got higher than 3rd string. Sucks. They never gave me a chance, man. What could have been?
Yeah, what could have been? Man. Brian Urlacher, quarterback. We're probably having a whole different kind of soup if that's the case.
I can't even imagine what would be taught. Well, first of all, I'd still be playing in the NFL if I was a quarterback. So
right.
Me and TB12 were drafted the same year. Can you believe that?
Did you know him? Have you heard of him a little bit, maybe because he played at Michigan?
No, I didn't really know anybody. And no one knew me. So, but you watch all these draft things and you get to know guys. And I met Tom at the Pro Bowl our 2nd year. We both made it, and I met him in the elevator. But prior to that, I didn't know her. Unless you were a 1st-round guy or a top guy, I really didn't know who anybody was. Just like they probably didn't know me.
So you get to New Mexico. No one knows you. You're just trying to find your place, playing a little bit, benched a little bit. New coach comes in. likes you a little bit more. And then what happened? I mean, did the light go on?
Man, so my first year I played all special teams as a true freshman. Then my second year I didn't start at all. We had a senior in front of me with split time. I led our team in tackles as linebacker, but didn't start. And then Coach Long came in, and his defense, they had this rover position. We called it Lobo, where you just play. I played 12 yards deep in the middle and went to the ball. So, and by then I was 245. So I was, and the crazy thing is, Cooper, the more weight I gained, the faster I got. It was good weight. I had a great frame for it. And I put a lot of muscle on my first couple of years. High school, you never get a chance to train for. Well, did you play basketball and track and baseball in high school as well? Yeah. We didn't specialize. So I went from football to basketball to track or baseball. And that was it, my whole high school career. Now the kids just play football or basketball. They do one thing. So they can specialize and train for that. I never trained for football until I got to college. So I gained weight like crazy. But anyway, when Coach Long got there, they put me at the rover. Man, I never got blocked. I ran to the football. I got to play receiver. I returned punts. Just awesome. He let me be a football player. My first couple of years, I never played backer in high school. And then they put me there when I was a sophomore, and I didn't know what I was doing. But I figured out how to play that rover position pretty well. I just ran to the football and hit people.
Were you always a tough guy? I mean, were you in high school? Were you the guy getting in fights and that kind of guy too, or just love contact? So
I was a turd in high school. So if you're standing around the pile, I would hit you. And I told my son, we watch my film sometime, I do not do that crap. Don't be a like I was. Show some respect to their players. But if the whistle didn't blow, I was going to hit you. You got the lineman standing around the pile. Kind of like linemen do players now?
Yeah.
That was me in high school. If they were standing around the pile, I'd come up and hit them. I mean, it wasn't illegal, but it was dirty and cheap. And then when I got to college, that was gone. I was just trying to clean up my act a little bit and be a respectful football player. And I just kept going from there.
And so kind of the legend of Brian Urlacher really takes off in your latter years who is, it's almost these days, it's kind of like when you're from a smaller school, there's not a lot of film on you, or, back then it's almost like it was 40 years ago when you'd hear these legendary stories of, Bo Jackson, because no one could validate it. And you're like, who is this? What is this mysterious person coming out of nowhere? Right. And literally you went from 0 to 100 in overnight.
2 years. I mean, Mel Kiper mentioned my name in some draft thing, and then all these scout stars showing up at our practices. I almost left my junior year. I'm glad I didn't. I would have been terrible. I got a chance to play under Coach Long for one more year, and it helped. I ended up going the first round, obviously, but I kept getting, like I said, I kept getting faster and stronger every year. And my senior year, I played pretty well. I was a good tackler, man. I was a good open field tackler back in college because, 12 yards deep, you take good angles. And Mountain West wasn't a great conference, but there was still some good football players in that conference. Who was in our conference was Steve Smith. Remember the receiver at Carolina? That dude returned 2 punts on us my senior year at Utah. Should have had a third. They had a call back for a penalty. But so there's some good players in our conference. So I think that also hurt me as well because people didn't think we had a legitimate competition. But whatever.
Steve Smith he'd hit you after the whistle too.
That dude was a beast. He played to the whistle, the echo of the whistle.
Now, what about, did you go to the combine? Tell me about that. I mean,
I went to the combine, man. So I went and I was ready, but I was instructed not to run the 40, not to do anything, just go do the, how it is back in the day, no one did anything because you didn't want to run a slow 40. But then I went to the Bears meeting and Greg Blosh goes, "Are you going to run the 40 tomorrow?" I said, "No, sir, I'm not." He goes, "Why not? You got something to hide?" I go, "No." He goes, "Are you in shape?" I go, "Yes." "What's wrong? What are you scared of?" I go, "Nothing. I was instructed, not my agent and everyone we spoke about not running. And I'm going to do the bench press and that." He goes, "You're scared." I'm like, "I'm not scared. And then he goes, "Think about this." He goes, "At your pro day, you may have 20 scouts, you may have 10 GMs, 10 coaches. At the combine, every one of them is here. You won't get a better opportunity to run in front of all these coaches, all these GMs, all these scouts." And I was like, "Man." So without telling anyone, I didn't tell my agent, I didn't tell anyone. I did everything. I ran them 4.56, 4.57, 40. Did all the drills well, and I'm glad I did. Greg, and then the Bears didn't draft me, obviously, but Coach Blosh challenged me. He was like, "What do you got to hide?" And I was like, "Nothing, sir." I was like, because it's very intimidating going to those meetings with these coaches, man, because I'm a young kid from New Mexico. I didn't really know what to think, but I'm glad he challenged me because I rose up and did everything.
Football season is here, and nothing beats seeing your favorite team live. Not only does Vivid Seats have great NFL ticket prices, they're also the official ticketing partner of ESPN. And with Vivid Seats rewards, when you buy 10 tickets, you get the 11th free. Download the app or visit vividseats.com today. Vivid Seats, life happens live. Receive a reward credit equal to the average price of 10 tickets purchased, excluding taxes, fees, and processing costs. See vividseats.com/rewards for terms and conditions.
When did you get the tattoo?
I'm glad I crossed my arm so you could see that to remind you. I got that my freshman year in college, Cooper. So I've had it for 25 years.
My youngest son, Hyde, wears 54 because of you. He was a linebacker.
Sounds like a bad dude. I like his name.
Yeah, Hyde. He's since eaten his way out of linebacker into the offensive line, but he wants the barbed wire tattoo. I told him he can get it when he's 93. So
get him the henna. Get a henna tattoo. So it'll last for like a week and it'll be gone. It's perfect.
Maybe, yeah, it'll just grow out of it. I'm sure.
I want to get rid of this so bad. I just, you're 18 years old. You thought, but I'll say this. I had mine before Pamela Anderson got hers. Okay. I didn't get it for her. Yeah. I got it before she did. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool when I was a little freshman in college to go get a tattoo. Whatever.
9th pick in the draft. And there are positions in the NFL that carry a lot of weight, whether you're the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers or you're these days now, New England, what have you, but nothing has more of a historical relevance than linebacker, Chicago Bears, Butkus, Singletary, and now you Hall of Famers across the board. Is that overwhelming for a young kid out of New Mexico?
You know what, honestly, Coop, I had no idea when I got there. If you go all the way back to Bill George, Butkus, Singletary, it's unbelievable. And not just middle linebacker, but the history of defense in that city. And I had no idea when I got there. And they started me out at Sam linebacker. I knew I was going to play Mike eventually, but I didn't know what I was doing. So they put me at Sam to get me on the field. But unbelievable tradition there. And you figure it out. If you don't know before you get there, you're going to know real quick once you get there because the media will not let you not know. So it's very much talked about in the media and stuff like that. So you learn quick the tradition and the history of, like I said, not just middle linebacker, but defense there. But it's great. How many places, if you play middle linebacker, that's where you want to play. You want to be in that city because the fans love defense. They love linebackers. It's just, that's the place you want to be.
Was the speed of the game overwhelming early on?
The mental part of the game, Cooper, was tough. Playing Sam, I'd never been on the line of scrimmage before, and it was hard for me to use my hands and jam tight ends. I'm a space player. I was always a space player in high school, college, and you put me on the tight end for, we're in the underfoot. I'm always on the tight end jamming him. But it was the best way to get on the field early on until I got benched in training camp. So, and then the second game of the year, Barry Minner gets hurt at Mike, and Coach Boss says, go play Mike. I was like, I never played Mike. He goes, just run to the football. I was like, okay. And I started every game after that. But I picked it up pretty quick. I feel like I'm a decently smart guy. So the more I played, the more I saw it, the better I got pretty quick. It probably took me about 6 or 7 games to learn the defense. And then I took off pretty good from there.
And then you mentioned, a year or two later, you're at the Pro Bowl hanging with the best players in the NFL. Did you ever, I know you're probably not a guy to sit back and reflect too much. You just kind of take what's coming and attack it. But did you ever sit back and go, this, a lot has happened here in the last 4 or 5 years here. And here I am at the top of the, top of the game.
Yeah, all these great players. It's funny because my rookie year, I actually made it my rookie year as well. I went as the alternate. Stephen Boyd bailed out from Detroit, so I got to go. And of course I went. But I'm there with Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, John Lynch, all these great players who Brett, none of these guys, I'm sure your brother was there too, but all these players that I watched as a kid in college, I'm a year removed from college and I'm now playing in the Pro Bowl with the guys who I used to look up to my last couple of years in college. It was, it's unreal. And then, it kind of takes some time to get used to that. You're starstruck at practice. You're in meetings like, wow, look over there. That's Marshall Faulk. There's Larry Allen. I was a big Cowboys fan growing up. So anytime Cowboys got around, that was cool as hell to me. But it was neat. And it happened so fast. You know how it goes. The older you get, time just flies by.
I remember we met briefly at a Pro Bowl. Peyton invited me to go one year. And then, Brian, I don't know if you remember this, but I used to do a lot of business in Chicago. And I was at dinner one night at Joe's.
Joe Stone Crab.
Yeah. And I had kind of a business dinner. We were into the cups pretty good. And you had a group of about 8, looked like kind of maybe some old high school buddies, some old college guys, just, all your age. Y'all were sitting around. It's the off season. And I'd had just enough, liquid courage to come up and say hello. And I remember you were sitting there. We had a visit. We were laughing a little bit. And then, you had that great head that just fit into a helmet, like you were born with a helmet. And for some reason, I was obviously just tipsy enough. I just kind of grabbed your head, like middle with these 7 guys, and they all looked at me like you have no idea how close you are to dying right now. And I woke up at like 2:30 in the morning having a panic attack, going, "What in the hell did I just do?" Brian and I are not that close, or I can just palm his dome.
You got the pedigree though. You got the pedigree, so it's okay. Yeah. I'm not an angry or a violent person. I never was away from football. I was always like, people get away with so much around me. I didn't care. I just, I kind of went with the flow all the time. But yeah, my head, man, I remember when my neck used to be kind of big and, the perfectly bald shaped head. Yeah, good old days.
Now, the hair, you look like a CEO now, as opposed to
crazy. I know. I do like it. So I got the people from Restore, the company that I partnered with, approached me, and I want to say 2014, and like, "Hey, would you maybe be our spokesman?" And I was like, "Hell no, I don't like having hair. I like being bald. I like being able not to worry about anything." And then they're like, "Well, if you don't like the procedure, you can still shave your head, and there'll be no scars." I was like, "Oh, that's easy enough. I'll take a risk." And then I did it. I went through the process, and my hair started growing out. I was like, because if you've been bald for 20 years and you get hair, you're like, I don't like it. And then I was at a drive-through Chick-fil-A. I went to the drive-through at Chick-fil-A, and there was like a probably 15, 16-year-old girl at the drive-through. She was like, "Oh, you look really young." I was like, "Oh, I'm keeping it." That was, and my kids and my wife didn't mind it too much. At first, it was a change, because and his hair is so long, but my wife liked it right away. So I was like, I'm keeping it. I'm doing it. And then now, it's my billboards are all over Chicago. It's crazy. It's nuts.
It's fantastic.
It's different.
When you were playing, Brian, did you look at another player as an opponent? Was it the quarterback? Was it a guard? Was it who did you look forward to playing with, and then also not look forward to playing with because they were, in your grill?
The linemen are always a pain in the ass. They're all so big, and they cheat. They hold you. They cut you. They're 330 pounds. Why are you cutting me? I'm 250 pounds. You should just grab me and throw me on the ground. Anyway, the quarterbacks, man, later in my career, Aaron, Drew, your brother, both brothers, they knew what you were doing. Tom, they all knew what you were doing before the ball was snapped. It was so hard to trick them, because, they do little stupid leg hikes, and there's 20 seconds left on the play clock. So you're like, "Oh, we got to shift to guard." And then they're like, and then start changing the defense or their offensive call. Luckily, once Lovey got there, we got to where we could change our defense as well. Because, if you're in cover 2, they're probably checking to a run. If you're an 8-man front, they're probably going to check to a pass. So we figured that out a little bit, the more we played our defense. So when they did check, if we had time, we would also check and put ourselves in a better situation to defend what they're doing. If we ended up in cover 2 every play, we're in good shape. If we had a blitz on and they call us out of it or whatever. But the quarterbacks are so good. They're so smart. They always undress your defense to see exactly what you're doing every play.
Yeah, it seems like that's all anything pre-snap is, just to try to get a tip on at least what you're not in. And then therefore they can limit some things. And that's all the motion, all the,
But the motions used to drive me crazy, Coop, right? I used to go, because, early on in my career when they motioned, everything changed. Your strength changed, your coverage, you went from 2 to 4, everything changed. Later in my career, it was easy because our defense was so simple, but it still drove me crazy because I know we have to reset the front. And then what they do is they get your guys up front thinking like, what are we? All they want to do is make you think about half a second, then they beat you. Football happens so fast. If they get you thinking about something you're not supposed to be doing, they win.
Well, y'all had some really good defenses that at times you don't even have to mask anything. Just say, "Here we are. We're going to whip your ass."
We didn't. We ran cover 2. Probably, I'm not 60% of the time when we had guys that could rush the passer. We didn't need to do anything else. Obviously if situation changed, we'd run something else, but we were a cover 2 defense and we did it well. We ran to the football. Our corners tackled. They forced the football back in. So it was like a 9-man box with those 2 corners out there forcing everything back inside. So we could do it versus the run as well.
When you think about those teams, I always like to talk to about great teammates. That's it's such a lost term, like he's a great player, whatever. But the guys who you absolutely can just look at him in the locker room before and going, he's got my back, I got his back, and he makes this team better. And if he left,
you're getting me chills, bro. I'm getting chills right now thinking about that.
Who are some of the teamemates that pop in your mind that you just
Lance Briggs
playing with?
Yeah, Lance, not even close. Lance, you talk about the eye contact in a game. He could run through a gap, but we would know just where the other guy's going to fit, man. We played side by side for 10 years. We knew each other were thinking. He would stress me out sometimes because pre-snap, like he's got the A gap and he's out here. I'm like, what is he doing out there? He's got the A gap. He's not going to play the A gap from the D gap. I always ended up in the right spot. We just had this rapport between each other, and pass coverage especially, because our cover 2, we changed it up quite a bit to fit the offenses we were playing. Charles Tillman, another guy you could count on.
Great.
I played 10 years with both of those guys. Chris Harris, Mike Brown. A lot of guys don't remember Mike Brown. Mike Brown was a great football player. Those 3 years in a row he got hurt. Those 2001 he returned in overtime, pick 6s to end games in overtime against San Fran. Did it the next week against Cleveland. So I could go on. My teammates were unbelievable. There's a reason we were good on defense. We were good at every level.
And do you hate Minnesota, Detroit, and Green Bay?
I don't hate them. I don't like them. We play them twice. The teams in your division, you just get tired of them, and their fans don't like us. We don't like them. But I don't – hate's a strong word, Cooper. I just I don't like them as much as I like the other teams.
How's that soup tasting right now? Is it getting cold?
Yeah, it's good. Sorry, yeah, you got me chatting.
Chicken noodle has a medicinal flavor to it, a nostalgia, a historical – I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, but if you're under the weather in any way, shape, or form,
that's it. You eat chicken noodle soup. That's why my mom used to make it when we were sick when I was a kid. And then now it's still, if my kids ever in the work, chicken noodle soup fixes everything, right?
It fixes everything. It fixes a good interview. I know that, especially when you're someone like me. Now your golf game, were you always a golfer? Your golf game is kind of been put into overdrive lately.
I love golf. I didn't play till I got to NFL. I couldn't afford it. So, once I got a little money, I could afford to buy some nice clubs. But I love it. You play, right?
I do. So I love to play. It's
so fun. You're competitive. The handicap should level everything out. If you got a guy with legit handicap, it should even them out. But I just love it. It's a great gambling on the golf course. I love it. It's fun. Get a little side game going, but you're never going to be as good as you want to be at golf. It's the hardest game you'll ever play. Even guys on tour, they're never as good. You can't do the same thing every day. That's what I love about it. It's a different challenge every day.
When you talk about Chicago, obviously tons of great golf courses.
Oh, yeah.
But when you mentioned gambling and golf in Chicago, Michael Jordan would pop up. Yeah. Have you ever had the
I played golf with Michael a few times. I played with Michael my second year. The first tee, we get up there and I hit my ball and I cut the ball, or back then it was a slice, but I cut it now. The first tee, I hit the ball 70 yards straight left. I don't hit the ball left. And he goes, everyone does that with me on the first tee. He says, I'm gonna give you another one. That was a nerves ball because you're playing with me. I was like, oh, right. Gee, thanks, man. Yeah. But I actually saw Michael we've been to the Grove. This place
I haven't been yet. I hear it's great. Peyton's been. I saw Sean.
Oh, man. It's great. Yeah. Fun course, great hangout place. I saw him last year in January down there, but he's good. He's fun. And Michael takes it seriously as well. He plays 36 a day. It's crazy. I'm not that much into it, but I like it.
What are the stakes when you play with Michael Jordan?
Like $100. But when I was younger, it was like $100 a night, whatever. You lose $500. Now I haven't played with him for money in a long time. We bowled one year for $100 a pin, like 2005 or 6. We were bowling for $100 a pin difference in Chicago there. But I haven't played golf versus him for money in a while. He was in a group in front of us last time we played.
I've been nervous over a 10-footer before. I've never been nervous over a bowling ball before.
I did pretty well that day. I bowled like 190 something, so I was doing good.
That's fine. Yeah, you watch his the documentary this during COVID.
That was
Everybody watching
unreal. Last Dance.
That competitive streak of his is. I love. We talked to Mark Schlereth the other day, who played with Elway, and you always heard
he's
stuff
great
about Elway and how competitive he is, and just how he hates to lose. And it's got it's not like good game. It's just like it can almost ruin the time. He hates to lose so bad.
That's how Michael was. I mean, you watch those shows and you really like people think he's a dick, but no, he's trying to motivate his teammates. He wants to win more than anybody else. No matter what you're doing, he wants to beat you at it. We used to play him in a softball game every summer in Chicago. I get 9 guys or 10 guys. He get 10 guys, and we play best of 3. These little parks around Chicago, and they were competitive, man. We didn't want to lose, but it just shows you how guys got to be to get to that level, I guess.
Brian, how did you find out you were inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame?
So we're, you sit in your room there, and we were in Minnesota that year. The Super Bowl was there, so you fly there the Saturday before, and then they come and knock on your door. They give you a phone. If the phone rings, it's not good. You didn't make it that year. Well, it's not bad. I'm saying you're just not that year. You won't be inducted. So we're sitting there. I got my wife, my 3 kids, my agents, I guess, but they're not. They're my best friends. They're not really my agents. Bryce and Bill were in there. We had somebody else in there too. I'm so bad at remembering. Anyway, but my kids and my wife are there, which is the most important thing. And you're just sitting there for 3 hours waiting to know what's going to happen because the guys are in there voting, they're doing this and that, and then your phone. Every time the phone rings, you're like, oh man, but it's the room phone, so it doesn't matter about your cell phone. So then David Baker comes and knocks on your door. David's 6'8", 390, huge man. And he comes and knocks on your door, and I was like, the relief of just getting that knock is because, you get the buildup, you get the releases, you get top 25, top 15, this and that. Doesn't mean anything until you get there. So to get that knock and kind of the relief, I guess, of knowing that you made it, it was pretty darn cool.
That's amazing. I'd heard, that'd be pretty tough if you're, a finalist and you're there and you're in the hotel room, and then, obviously you get the phone call, as you mentioned, and then not get it. And then you go back next year. I heard Marvin Harrison, he went the first year and got the phone call, and he said, I'll come next year, but after that, I'm never coming back here.
That's it.
I can't wait around here and get, rejected.
I think I would have been a one and done guy too, Cooper. I think if I had got the phone call, I'd have been like, I can't put myself through this, myself and my family through this again, because the expectations it's just crazy. You're walking around, there's so much stuff going on, and then you're just put in your room for those 3 hours waiting. So stressful.
Brian, you have a son now who's playing sports. Yep. Football is not for everybody. What do you love about football, and what do you want him to kind of appreciate that you loved about it so much?
I just love, number one, my teammates. I think that's the greatest thing, to be around guys that you may not normally be around, but you're on a team. So you're around each other, you spend time with each other, you learn to deal and play with each other. But the hard work, man. The dude, like, I don't have to tell him to go work out. I don't have to tell him to go do this and that. He's asking me, can you take me here? Now he got his license last week, so more stress. But there was 2 years that he was like, can you take me here? Can you take me there? I want to do 7-on-7 here. I want to lift in the morning. I want to run in the afternoon. I'm like, yeah, if you want to go. I never had to push him to do it. He just wants to do it, which I appreciate. As a parent, you see your kid busting his ass. And the thing with him is he saw some success. He saw his body changing. That was it, man. He was all in. And even now, he just, going into high school, he's all about it. He loves football. Loves his teammates. He has great questions too, which I enjoy talking about football with him, because he's a defensive guy. I was a defensive guy. He'll ask me questions about cover 2 or cover 3. Where does he fit here? Where does he fit there? And I love it. In my opinion, those are the right questions to ask, like coverage, like schemes and stuff like that.
And do you encourage him to play other sports?
Oh, I wish he would. He played basketball forever, and then he didn't play this year. I don't know why. I wish he would go. When we played football, basketball, track, whatever it was. And I wish he would play basketball. He may go out this year, I'm not sure, but he's going to run track. But I want him to do everything. He stays busy, but I want him to do as many things as he can. But you know what, Cooper? He gets good grades. More importantly, play as many sports as you want to, but you better be good in the classroom, and he is. So that's a good thing.
When you look back on your career, was there anybody you played against that you kind of said, God, I wish I was on his team? Was there anybody?
That's a tough question, man, because I'm going to sell some guys out here. But,
don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm going to do it because you asked the question. Just once, you look at these quarterbacks, these guys that their teams are built around the quarterbacks, and they're so freaking good. And anytime these quarterbacks play, they have a chance to win the game, or they have a chance to win Super Bowl. And there's a handful of them in the NFL. You got the Mahomes, the Bradys, the Rodgers, the Brees is retired now. Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. There's probably more I'm leaving out. I'm not trying to leave anybody out. I just can't think of them right now. But there's a handful of guys that you'd like to play with. Obviously both your brothers were those guys for a while, but just to be on a team with one of those guys where you have a chance to win every game because of them. Because they're playing in the game, you have a chance to be competitive every single game. I don't think I ever got a chance to, and this is no disrespect to any quarterbacks I played with. They were great, and we were built on defense. It might have been our fault because we spent our money on defense. That's just the way it was. But to maybe get a chance to play with a guy like that and not have to have so much pressure on your defense all the time would have been awesome. Just to have a chance to know that this dude's going to give us a chance to win every game, no matter what the situation is.
And then, Brian, now when you watch football, I know you probably you focus on linebackers when you're watching. Is there anybody that you really admire what they're doing on the defensive side?
I've been a Bobby Wagner fan for a long time. The guy, the kid in Tampa now, Devin White.
Yes.
Man, that kid makes so many plays. I forget the kid in New Orleans as well. He gets no respect.
Shoot.
He came from the Jets. Demario Davis.
Yeah, Demario Davis.
Oh,
sorry.
He's a bad dude. Yeah, I'm so bad. It's off season. We don't have to remember their names right now. But Demario Davis, Bobby Wagner, Devin White's a bad dude. It's just Van Der Esch in Dallas before he got hurt was making some plays. There's so many good young linebackers now. I like the way they play the football. They play the way the game's supposed to be played. They play fast. They're not out there dancing. They're out there flying to the football, making plays, and just helping their teams win.
Brian, I can't thank you enough for joining us. As always, we like to rank our soup from 1 to 1,000. And you devoured. Yeah, well, we got.
That's a big gap. Wow.
That's how many people are watching today.
So many people. Ones of people. Wow. You thought our soup chat or my soup as in the soup I made?
The soup you're eating right there, 1 to 1,000. Just rank it. 1,000 being the best.
Yeah. It's cold. 550. I made it way too early. It got cold.
550 is exactly how many dollars they paid us to be on this show together. We'll split it.
I'm in. Sign me up.
We'll split it. We'll bet on the golf course next time we see each other.
That's the move. Thanks
buddy.
Appreciate
it. Appreciate it. The best.
See you, bud.